Guys, it's Wednesday afternoon. It's 2:30. What am I doing here? Why am I going live when I should be at work? Well, guys, as long as the lightning doesn't strike twice like it did at work, I actually am home from work early today. We had a very bad storm here in Pittsburgh. Well, thunder and lightning. It's starting to calm down from what it seems like, but the power went out at work. And with how bad it was, and with how the generator for my building also was not working, they said we're not going to be able to fix this anytime soon. So we got sent home for the afternoon. So I'm here live, and I have some few minutes to kill. I have a couple hours to kill actually, and that's because tonight I'm going for the first time. I would say, maybe since the AEW in Pittsburgh back in October of 2019, I think it was. I think. Don't quote me on that. No. That or an NXT live event in January of 2020. Tonight, for the first time since whenever it was, I will be live at the Peterson Event Center tonight in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for AEW Dynamite. So, with that, and me getting the afternoon off from work, I'm in a good mood. So I had some time to kill, so I thought while I waited, I will do some editing for my wedding. I'm editing right now. And I will also catch up on 2 live reviews, which is Raw and NXT. And for those who didn't catch it, yes, I did do a video on Sunday night, just ranting my frustrations and my dying fandom of wrestling right now. So, again, as a reminder, unless WWE and NXT, of course, does anything that gets me hooked at either show next weekend, after SummerSlam weekend, I'm toning back on wrestling videos for a while. Not reviewing every single show every single week. Just maybe, like I said, NXT as of now is out the door. NXT, like I said, with the releases last week, with 2 of the biggest names on that brand, Adam Cole and Pete Dunne, getting ready to leave, and just basically Vince's whole philosophy about how NXT is just a bunch of 30-year-old midgets. Basically NXT is going to be completely revamped in a different show. I'm probably going to call it quits on NXT after TakeOver 36. So like I said, unless something happens, starting on the Monday after SummerSlam, this channel, the wrestling content of this channel is going to be toned down. Probably just for now. Like I said, I'm just feeling burned out, and I need a break, and I want to be able to do things that I'm, enjoying right now. But anyways, so, like I said, this week and next week, keeping things normal. But, the way they are. But then after SummerSlam, it's time for a little bit of a change. But hopefully, it's just temporary. We'll see. I doubt it. We'll see, though. So, let's, of course, start off by reviewing this past week's episode of Monday Night Raw, the August 9th, 2021 edition. It took place at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. I'll say this. Watching this episode of Raw, and I watched Raw this week because I've realized, with how busy my schedule is, this is really the only wrestling show I get to sit down and actually enjoy. Well, AEW as well, but sometimes I have stuff going on Wednesday nights. Like I said, my schedule's so inconsistent, I'm just watching whichever show I can. So I actually sat down and watched Raw. And of course, I didn't like it. I mean, I'll put it this way. I gave it a little bit of a higher grade than I did because it wasn't as intelligence insulting as the past several shows have been. Here's the thing. I would much rather watch a show of Raw that's boring and doesn't really, excite me, than a show that's more of a show like this. Than a show that has moments that just, you feel like as a fan, your intelligence is insulted. This show this week, it was boring. It just was what it was. It wasn't the worst thing. I mean, the main focus on this week's episode of Raw was the story with Matt Riddle and Randy Orton. It was Randy Orton coming back, which didn't explain why he was gone in the first place, but maybe eventually we'll get that. Who knows? But basically, it's set up for that Raw tag title match between Matt Riddle and Randy Orton, Team RK Bro taking on AJ Styles and Omos at SummerSlam. That was basically the main story of this show. But so I'll say it wasn't as intelligent and insulting, but it was still boring and pointless, of course, as all I can say. Live chat. JR says, are we getting a feud between Randy Orton and Riddle for SummerSlam? I don't think it's going to be that. I wonder, though, based off that ending, I'm curious though as to see if they actually will put the tag titles on them, or if they may pull a swerve on us and have Riddle turn on Randy Orton. Who knows? Maybe. Who knows? I'll talk about that at the end. Even though I always keep saying I would definitely prefer Randy Orton as a heel, for sure. But I wouldn't be opposed to a Matt Riddle heel turn right now. I'll be honest. What are you thinking about this? Russia, who do you think Roman's best opponent has been since he's came back to WWE to defend the title against him? Ooh, that's a tough one. Ooh, that's a very tough one. Because, of course, I love the stuff he did with Jay. Him and Kevin Owens a great work together. So him and Drew McIntyre. And I would say, so far with this reign, surprisingly, I'm going to say Jey Uso. Because I feel like, the storytelling there really set the table for the head of the table. So I'll probably say Jey Uso on that one. Tyler, what's up? Give it a D+. Champions lose all the time, which is nothing new. Is CM Punk going to be there tonight or Rampage? Do you think we'll get a Kurt Angle in AEW tonight since it's in his hometown? Ooh! I didn't think of that. I did not think of that. What if Kurt Angle did appear at AEW tonight? And I will be there for it. Again, I'm only going to Dynamite tonight. I'm not going to Rampage on Friday. I just didn't get any tickets because at the time I was supposed to be going on a little weekend trip with my girlfriend, but then she ended up not being able to do the weekend trip because of financial reasons. But that's fine. So that's why I never got a ticket to go to Rampage. But totally fine. But no, I think CM Punk is going to either and I'm still going to be the Mr. I'm not going to believe it until I see it. But if CM Punk is going to debut in AEW, it's going to either be next Friday's Rampage or at All Out. If he doesn't appear on either one of those shows, completely shutting the vault again on the CM Punk return. Let me see here. Tyler says NXT is dead. Back to Florida after the Thunderdome. Is CM Punk going to be at Rampage Friday night? If not, will he be at AEW All Out? Which I just told you. Okay. Let's just scheme through this show. There really isn't much to talk about. So, which is also why, again, I don't want to do these reviews weekly because there's nothing to talk about. So, the show opened up with Randy Orton returning to Raw. And again, there really wasn't much rhyme or reason as to why. But he couldn't get money words in before Matt Riddle comes out, who has a big man crush on Randy Orton. And he's like, yay, Randy, we're back, we can be a team again. And Randy's just like, we were a good team, but I don't want to work together with you. I prefer to work alone. AJ Styles came out with Omos, and they start teasing Orton, and they challenge him to a match later on in the show. And then Riddle was choke slammed by Omos in the process. It just set up the main event in the show, which was Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. Which, I'm sorry, a couple years ago, whenever AJ Styles first came to WWE, it felt like it took forever to do him and Randy Orton. Which they did it. The first time they did it was that one match in 2017 where when Orton turned on Bray Wyatt, but he had to win his Royal Rumble opportunity back. I don't get that. So he had to face the man who was going to be replacing him in AJ Styles. So they faced there. And I think the next time they faced each other was at WrestleMania 35, which was a solid match, but would have been better if we weren't crapping on the bad lighting there. I was there for that. But ever since then, how many matches have these guys had? Like, anytime Randy Orton's been a babyface on Raw, all he fights is AJ Styles. So I don't get the philosophy behind it, but they've had how many matches? So that was the main event. Orton was saying all night. Basically, we had several run-ins with Matt Riddle, who was sulking over the fact that Randy Orton didn't want to be out there, and then Orton's telling him he prefers to work alone. Main event, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Oh yeah, and then we had. So remember, we have this whole brand-to-brand invitational where any superstar can go to the opposing brand for 4 times in a year, which is just another weird-ass rule. And I feel like the only person that takes advantage of that rule is Baron Corbin. Because he was, and actually, heck, let's put it this way. Most of the time within the past year when they had the brand-to-brand invitational, who's the person that gets, what match do we usually see? That's right, Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre. Because we got that for the 50 millionth time on this show tonight. The story was Baron Corbin came over saying that Jinder Mahal made him an offer, and Baron Corbin being broke and, just looked like a caveman now, he accepted the offer, but then Drew McIntyre, who also now has a promo. So first I thought he said that his sword was made from the tooth of the Loch Ness Monster. Now his symbol the sword reminds him of his mother, which I prefer, more personally than that, but not the tooth of the Loch Ness Monster. But yeah, Drew McIntyre beat Baron Corbin, as, in joking fashion and whatnot. Not much craziness there. Karrion Kross then beat Jeff Hardy by submission, attacked Hardy after the match. Again, that does absolutely nothing for him because, again, he lost to Hardy in his Raw debut. Alexa Bliss then took on Doudrop, and Doudrop lost to Alexa Bliss because she got distracted by a winking Lily. Lily's in the corner going, which I'm pretty sure was pre-taped, but, don't care. Eva Marie just tore apart Doudrop after the match. And then, what is this? We have like a bunch of stuff with Sheamus. Why is everything involving Damian Priest, which I love Damian Priest, but why is the past 2 weeks, everything involving Damian Priest has led to multiple things? I don't know why. So first, Sheamus sees Miz and John Morrison, America's Moist Wanted. I hate that. I really do. America's Moist Wanted. Oh, gosh, I was saying. Basically telling him to get the job done by taking out Damian Priest. But first, Sheamus has a non-title match against Ricochet, which he wins. Priest came out, had a stare down with Sheamus, and then Priest took on John Morrison and won the match. And after the match, it was revealed that apparently Miz is healthy again. He was able to stand from his wheelchair, and he ran away like Kevin Owens would run away from Braun Strowman back in 2018, I believe it was. Yeah. And then Priest challenges Sheamus to a match at SummerSlam for the US title, and Sheamus says yes. T-Bar then defeated Mustafa Ali by pinfall after Ali tells Mansoor to watch and learn. But afterwards, Mansoor takes out both T-Bar and Mace to save Mustafa Ali, even though, once again, not too much of a story, because they did nothing but lose to Mace and T-Bar, who are also absolute jokes. Even though I feel like Mansoor and Mustafa Ali would actually be a pretty good, cool tag team, but, there's no direction. They don't know what they're doing. They're really playing it by week for all these guys, but who knows. We also have a segment with R-Truth and Akira Tozawa teaming up and trying to take out Reggie and take the 24/7 title back, but didn't work. MVP and Bobby Lashley had their typical promo. Oh, I'm going to end Goldberg's career, and Goldberg's son should watch SummerSlam. Do you care about that match? Neither do I. Good, we're moving on. Rhea Ripley has a segment where she mentions how, she's happy for Nikki for what she's accomplished, typical babyface shit, but she wants to see more of a dark side of Nikki A.S.H. And they have a match, and, Nikki Cross won by DQ, because Charlotte Flair got involved. MVP Udo obviously shown that Nikki's win was a complete fluke last week, and just get that damn belt off of Nikki and put it back on. No. Take the belt off Nikki and get Becky back here. Please. Because there's really no point in having the belt on Nikki Cross, as she's just, again, love Nikki, but again, this gimmick, It's terrible. It's just so terrible. A champion shouldn't be almost a superhero. She should be a superhero. She should be beating the best in Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. But instead, nope, she's just an underdog. A champion that's the underdog. Yeah, that's exactly what we need here. We also had this random segment with Elias, who walked over to a fire with his guitar and threw it in there. And he said, let me pull something up here. Raw results, cage side. He made some. There was some line at the end of the segment that he made. Where is it? Come on. Oh, he said something like that WWE stood for Walk with Elias, but Elias is dead. So, I don't know what that means. I mean, it looks like Elias's, music gimmick, I guess, is dead or whatnot. I don't know. Because it seemed to me like he's either dropping his music or he's dropping the name Elias. Unless he's coming back and it's totally completely different. I don't know. So, we've seen the last of Walking with Elias, I guess. If that's the case, who knows. And then Randy Orton beat AJ Styles in the main event. And then, of course, Matt Riddle got involved. And afterwards, Riddle and Orton hugged it out. But then Orton hits an RKO on Matt Riddle to end the show. So, I'm wondering. I feel like one or two things is going to happen here. Either Matt Riddle and Randy Orton will win the Raw tag titles. Or, even though I'd rather have, again, I always would say I'd rather have Orton be the heel. Or, what if they have, let's say on Raw next week, they do something where Randy Orton, needs Riddle's help. And Riddle basically, proves himself, helps him out of a jam. And that's how they agree to be a team and have the Raw tag title match at SummerSlam. Well, what if they lose and Matt Riddle turns heel on Randy Orton and basically says, "Yeah, Randy, when I needed you, you weren't here, but when you needed me, I was there. So now, of course, I'm gonna just give you payback for that, whatnot." I don't know. That's why I can also see that, because honestly, I just can't see how they're booking Matt Riddle. I love them in NXT, but I don't like how they're booking him here. That's the show, guys. C-. It was a whatever show. Nothing super insulting, but it's just whatever. Now that would be a huge pop if we got Kurt Angle return right to wrestling, but he can't wrestle because of his problem, so he'd be a manager to Hangman Adam Page. Ooh! Well, first off, don't have Kurt wrestle again without, no offense, his wrestling in his last run of WWE was just bad. But, that would be pretty darn awesome. To see him be Hangman Adam Page's manager would be interesting. The fans were calling we want Wyatt in the Bliss match, which I did hear that. Also, apparently, Nikki A.S.H was getting booed also. But, of course, the piped in, noise over the boos is covered up, but, I'm hearing the true noises tonight when I go to AEW. So, I can't wait for that. That's Raw, guys. I'm going to just rest my eyes for like a minute or two, come back up here, review NXT, and, just enjoy the rest of my afternoon off before I go to AEW. So, guys, I'll be right back up here in a few minutes. What are your thoughts on Raw from this week? Leave thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video. Subscribe for more content to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBoy93. Till then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll see you all later. Have a good rest of your day. Peace out, everybody. Yeah, no, I will surprise. There's no